dear students, today we are discussing a concept of psychology. What is psychology? Why it is important in our educational as well as in our life that we are learning in the introduction to psychology. Psychology is the scientific study of human behavior and mental process. It seeks to understand how individuals think, feel, and act in different situations. Psychology integrates biology, neuroscience, philosophy, and social science to explore the complexities of human cognition, emotions, and actions. So, the study of psychology has evolved significantly from the ancient Greek philosophers discussing the soul to modern scientific research focusing on the behavior, cognition, and neurological processes. The terminological or etymological meaning of psychology is the word psychology comes from a Greek word that is psyche, meaning soul or spirit or mind. Logos means the study or discourses. Initially, psychology was considered the study of the soul, but the scientific advancements it became the systematic study of mind, consciousness, and behavior. Definitions of psychology in different perspectives. Psychology as the study of the soul according to ancient view. Ancient philosophers like Plato and Aristotle believed that psychology was the study of the soul, which controls human actions and emotions. They argued that the soul is immortal and influences moral behavior. Psychology as the study of the mind according to the medieval view. During the Renaissance period, psychology was redefined as the study of the mind and its workings. Philosophers like Descartes' dualism argued that the mind and body are separate but interact. According to this view, emphasized that rational thinking, memory, and imagination as the key functions of the mind. Under one definition, psychology as the study of consciousness, early scientific view. So in this framework, Wilhelm Wundt 1879 established a psychology as a scientific discipline by studying consciousness through introspection, and he founded the first psychological laboratory and developed the structuralism, analyzing the mental experiences in terms of basic elements, sensations, thoughts, emotions. Under one views, that is psychology as the study of behavior. According to the modern view, in the 20th century, John B. Watson redefined psychology as the science of observable behavior. This led to the rise of behaviorism, which focused on how people learn through experiences and conditioning. Later, B.F. Skinner expanded the behaviorism with operant conditioning, showing how rewards and punishments shape the behaviors. My dear students, psychology as the study of the mind and behavior. In the framework of current definitions, modern psychology combines mental processes, cognition, emotions, and perception and observable behavior to form a holistic approach. Includes biological, psychological, and social factors in understanding behavior, and used the fields like child psychology and educational psychology, neuroscience psychology, and after that the modern definitions according to the American Psychological Association APA defines that psychology is the scientific study of the mind and behavior, including the biological, cognitive, emotional, and social influences. So the psychological, the perspectives, various definitions of the psychology like this. Wilhelm Wundt in 1879 defines that psychology is the study of the conscious experience. Wundt is known as the father of modern psychology and emphasized the introspection as the modern method of studying mental processes. After that, the William James in 1890, psychology is the science of mental life, both its phenomena and their conditions. He introduced the functionalism, focusing on how mental processes help individuals adapt to their environment. John B. Watson in 1913 defines that psychology as the science of behavior, and he is the founder of behaviorism. Watson emphasized that studying observable and measurable behavior rather than the consciousness. Sigmund Freud, 1923, psychology is the study of unconscious motives and conflicts that shape human behavior, and Freud introduces psychoanalysis, highlighting the role of unconscious thoughts, desires, and childhood experiences in shaping the behavior of the child. Another one psychologist, that is Jean Piaget, in 1930, he defines that psychology is the scientific study of how knowledge is acquired, constructed, and used by individuals. He defines and developed with the cognitive developmental theory, that is explaining how children's thinking evolves over time and making the modification in their behavior. After that, another one important psychologist who is famous worldwide, that is B.F. Skinner in 1953, defines that psychology is the science of behavior and its environmental determinants are played very important role for the development. Skinner expanded behaviorism, introducing operant conditioning, which focuses on reinforcement and punishments in the learning. Carl Roger, 1961, who defines that psychology is the study of the self and the individual's potential for personal growth, and he developed humanistic psychology, emphasizing that self-actualization and positive personal development. After that, under one psychologist, Lev Vygotsky, 1978, psychology is the study of cognitive and social development influenced by cultural interactions. He introduced the socio-cultural theory, emphasizing that the role of social interactions in learning and development that played very important is defined. After that, American Psychological Association APA defines in the year of 2020, psychology means, that is, psychology is the scientific study of the mind and behavior, including biological, social, and environmental influences. And the APA's definition highlights the scientific and interdisciplinary nature of psychology in the human growth played very important role. Robert Fieldman, 2021, who defines psychology is the systematic investigation of human thoughts, feelings, and behaviors and how they are influenced by the internal and external factors. This definition emphasizing both mental and behavioral aspect of psychology. After that, we are going to under one concept of this topic, that is branches of psychology. The psychology is defined in two main heads, that are pure psychology and applied psychology. So psychology is a vast field that studies human behavior, thoughts, and emotions. It is broadly divided into two major branches, that is, one is, first we are going to glance over that, pure psychology. Focuses on theoretical research and understanding human behavior without immediate practical application. Applied psychology uses psychological principles to solve real world problems in various fields like education, business, and healthcare, etc. Let's explore both in details one by one. First one is pure psychology. Theoretically, that psychology is nothing but pure, and it includes the scientific study of human behavior and mental processes without focusing on direct practical applications. It aims to develop theories, principles, and concepts to understand the mind and behavior, and that is the main motto. After that, what are the key features of pure psychology? One by one. In short, we are observing that our focus is on fundamental research, uses of experimental methods to study mental processes, and develops psychological theories that are later applied in real world situations. Conducted mainly in universities and research institutions. So after this, some of the branches of pure psychology, one by one we are going to study. What are the important branches are there that we are going to learn? So first one is general psychology. What is general psychology? That studies the basic principles of functions of human behavior like perception, memory, learning, emotions, and intelligence. By all, it serves as the foundation for all other branches of psychology. Second one is experimental psychology. What is experimental psychology? Why it has played significant role in all the human as well as educational scenario that focuses on scientific methods and experiments to study the psychological important concepts and phenomena. It used and controlled the experiments to understand how people's react in different situations. For example, studying how memory improves with different learning techniques. So third one is cognitive psychology. What are the important key points of this cognitive psychology? That is, studies the mental processes such as thinking, problem solving, attention, and decision making. Besides that, it's important for understanding artificial intelligence, learning strategies, and perception. After this, another one, fourth branch was that is the developmental psychology. What are the important key points of developmental psychology? Means examines how people grow and change from infancy to old age. Major theories in this regard are Jean Piaget cognitive developmental theory, Erikson's psychological developmental theory, and Sigmund Freud's psychosexual developmental theory are played very important role in this regard. After this, fifth one is that is the social psychology that studies how individuals interact with others and how social environments influences thoughts and behaviors. In this regard, this topic, this branch influences including group behavior, prejudices, and leadership and social norms. So after this branch, another one branch is played very important role in the human life, that is abnormal psychology. What are the important key points of this abnormal psychology? Means studies the mental disorders such as depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, and personality disorders that helps in understanding the symptoms, causes, and treatments for various mental health conditions of human being. Next one is that is a seventh one, psychosociological biological psychology. In this branch, we are examines how the brain, nervous system, human hormones, and genetics influences the behavior, and what are the important key points that the brain imaging and techniques like MRI, EEG, and to study this relationship between the brain and behavior. Also, we are glance overing in this framework, and besides that, we are summarizing that pure psychology is played very important, focusing on understanding the behavior through the research and develops the theories and concepts for later practical use, and it helps to build the foundations for applied psychology. So, after the grasping the knowledge of first branch, we are going to learn second, that is a applied psychological branch. In that regard, that the applied psychology is nothing but practical psychological applications in human life. And what is that the applied psychology means? First, we are understanding, then which are the important branches are there that we are deeply understanding. So here, applied psychology is the practical application of psychological principles to solve the real world problems in various fields like education, business, healthcare, and sports. In that, this applied psychology is one of the important remedial measure playing today's the modern era. So in this regard, what are the important key features of applied psychology that we are shortly observing? Uses of psychological theories to solve the practical problems and works in schools, hospitals, industries, law enforcements, and organizations. It involves counseling, therapies, and behavioral modifications in abnormal persons. And what are the important major branches in the applied psychology one by one we are seeing. First one is educational psychology. In that educational psychology, it applies the psychological principles to teach or to grasp the knowledge. In other words, we are calling it learning the knowledge. And in that regard, it helps in curriculum designing, students' motivation, and classroom management, and using reinforcement techniques to improve students' slow learning or out of learning, or modifying their psychological condition through the outcomes of the students in the classroom. So next one is clinical psychology. What is clinical psychology? The clinical psychology is a diagnosis and treats the mental health disorders of the human being, and in that regard it uses the therapies like cognitive behavioral therapies that we called into CBT, psychoanalysis and medication. So in this psychoanalysis and medication, it helps us in patients with anxiety, depression and phobias, and makes important significant disorder overtaking or eradicating from the pupils and makes the normal learning. So next one is that is the counseling. Counseling psychology is played very important role because it focuses on personal as well as social adjustment of problems rather than serves mental illness, and in that it works as in various faculties such as schools, career counselings centers and family therapies, and besides it helping students overcome exam stress or career confusion, and in that regard it played very important role. After that, another one psychological branch that we are applied psychologically, particularly industrial or an organizational IO psychology is played very important role, studies the workplace's behavior and to improve the productivity of the industries and employee well-being is regard. It is taking the leadership key points in the training, motivation, strategies, and job satisfaction, and in that regard, helping the HR teams to improve the employee engagement and team collaboration for the industrial smooth and successful running. Next one is forensic psychology. So this is also played very important role because that applies the psychology in criminal investigations and legal cases. It studies the criminal behavior, witnesses the credibility and rehabilitation. For example, it helps court to assess the mental stability of the criminals and makes a smooth and peaceful atmosphere. After this, we are going to glance over that is a health psychology. What is health psychology? It studies how mental and emotional health affects the physical health of the human being as well as the students, and output also we are getting according to the health is concerned. That time it encourages healthy behaviors like stress management and lifestyle changes. Examples like helping people quit smoking or manage the chronic diseases like diabetes or other diseases. Next one is that is sports psychology. So here that sports psychology is played very important role for successful winning of the athletic in various sports, national or international. That athletes improve the performance, confidence and motivation, and it focuses on mental preparation, focuses on stress or an management of the sportsmanship persons, and it helping Olympic athletics and other handled performance good sportsmen to decrease their pressures. In that regard, this sports psychology is played very important role. After that, another one is the today's burning problem, that is environment. So environmental ecological balance is concerned. Environmental psychology is played very important role, and it studies how that surroundings influences on the human behavior, and in that regard it helps in urban planning, workspace designing and environmental conservation, and in that regard it designs workplace or workplaces that reduces stress and improves the productivity, and played very important role for the urbanization and peace and ecological balance is regard. In this way, these are the important points we are discussed in this video regarding the what is psychology, meaning and definitions and branches of psychology. Are you understood, dear students? If you are understood, thank you one and all.